global FMCG company is looking for ambitious, coachable, serious candidates to join us as business partners. Start your business with your smartphone or laptop with low capital. For details, visit worldebusinesspartners.com.
Welcome, guys. This is my stellar research group of students who did DNA barcoding research along with me. We did this research from scratch, collecting the material right from the field till the end of the experiment or the project to generate a DNA barcode, just like barcode for any product that you buy in a store. Like that, we generate genetic code for the species that we have selected or picked from the field. So that was our research, DNA barcoding, only on plants. Our model organism was plants. So we'll start with Julia. Julia, just give me your introduction, and then Bia, Fatima, and then Juan. Let's go in this order, if it's okay.
Okay. Hi, so my name is Julia White.
Healthhomeskin.com for pure quality organic health supplements, biodegradable detergents, premium quality skincare and makeup.
I was a student with Professor O. She was my microbiology professor. And actually, it's because of her that I got into my program after research, and from her, just that experience, that I got into the medical laboratory sciences program at UCF. So yeah, it's a little bit, I was originally going to go for nursing, and then after having more experience in the lab, especially with the research that we did, it led me more down the path of laboratory work. So here I am.
What are you doing currently, Julia? Sorry, let's wrap up with Julia's introduction. What are you currently doing? And what are your aspirations for your future, career-wise, academically?
Sure. So it changed. Honestly, it changed a little bit. When you start in medical laboratory sciences, it's a little bit of everything. You're going to learn chemistry, the biology, virology, microbiology, hematology, all the ologies. You're learning.
Our global FMCG company is looking for ambitious, coachable, serious candidates to join us as business partners. Start your business with your smartphone or laptop with low capital. For details, visit worldebusinesspartners.com.
Learning every aspect of the lab so that you're able to provide a clinical diagnosis for patients. But really, there are so many other options you can do for it. You don't have to work in a hospital. After my student evaluations this last semester, I was placed in immunohematology. So when I start working, I will be doing blood banking. Another thing that I'm going off on too, actually with research, I'll be working with coral restoration. So that's another like future thing I'm getting into, and that's been really cool too. Oh yeah.
Cool. Sounds exciting. Bia.
Hi, Beatrices Oliveira, and I graduated from Valencia College in 2018. And that's where I had this research project with Nalini and this team. And then as soon as I graduated, I transferred to University of South Florida, where I just got my degree in biomedical sciences. I'm currently studying for the MCAT for medical school, and this is where I plan to be in the future, just studying a lot for medical school.
What field of medicine would you like to specialize in?
I don't know yet, but I really like family medicine, just simple, but I really like that.
Wish you the best. Fatima.
Hi, my name is Fatima. I was a student at Valencia first 2 years. My first research experience was with Professor Odapali. And currently I'm in my senior year at UCF. I got into the TRIP program as a result of the research I did at Valencia. So that's pretty much a program to do research for transfer students specifically. So as a result, I was able to get into it was like a segue into another research program. And I won a poster award on that as well. And in the future, I'm looking to get into medical school. So right now I'm studying for the MCAT and preparing my application.
Wonderful. So what are all the things that you are doing right now as a president, and what is that list of things that a long list of things that I have accomplished? Would you
Um,
like to share?
Sure. So I'm the president of the Bachelors of Social Work Student Association. I was also in the I was also in the UCF senator. I'm also a senator representing the College of Health Sciences in SGA, so the legislative branch in SGA. I'm historian in America. It's called ASBMB, American Society of Microbiology and Biochemistry. I At Valencia, I was like vice president of like the speech club. I won Service Award of the Year for volunteering. I won Order of Pegasus at UCF. So that's all I can think about on the top of my head. I have to check my resume.
You're like Fatima, what? Like just like
Yeah.
Yes,
girl.
Juan, I'm so excited for you. We are in constant touch. Juan follows all my posts about spirituality and life.
Well, so my name is Juan Miguel Gonzalez Rivero, right? I started Valencia in 2017 and I joined Professor Sholapali research team in 2018. And it was my first research experience. I've been always like, love to learn, right? And also love science. And that was a really brilliant experience for me because it brought like a ton of opportunities with Valencia College and UCF as well. Right now I'm doing a dual major in biotechnology and biomedical sciences with a focus on neuroscience. And after the research with Professor Sholapali, I went on to do a physics research with UCF. It was during the summer of 2019. And then I did another physics research for the undergraduate research program that Valencia had. And that's when I graduated with honors from there. And doing all that stuff also led me to get a transfer scholarship in UCF, and it has been really helpful. Right now, I am currently working for Advent Health in the Altamont Springs Hospital, and I'm working as a laboratory assistant. It's really a really cool job. I get to work with medical laboratory scientists, such as what Julia is planning on doing. Of course, not necessarily the hospital, right? But and I'm looking forward to, as soon as I finish my 2 degrees, start to studying for the MCAT and start my applications because I want to do an MD PhD program, right? This program is like really rigorous and you have to be like top of the top, and also try to find teaching experiences, and that will get me as well into graduate school at the same time that you do medical school. But looking back in the past and see where I started to what I'm doing right now, it's such a great way to see like the improvement that I've been thanks to Professor Sholapali.
Thank you. That was brilliant, guys. That was wonderful. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so happy that my future paychecks are all coming through you. Balaji, can I see you? Unmute yourself and give us your intro. What have you done so far? And what are you currently doing? And what are you planning to do in future? Are you able to unmute? Is your mic?
Yes, hi, Professor Adapoli. I wasn't able to get a hold of a laptop, so I'm on my phone. That's why. Oh yes.
Give us a little bit of your intro.
Yeah, it should work right now. All right, hi everyone. I am Balaji. I am currently a dental student at the University of Louisville. I started research with Professor Odapali back in 2017. I was actually a UCF student, so I went to Seminole State and then I went to UCF for my last 2 years. So doing research with Professor Odapali, it really helped me with get my hands wet in research. So I started off researching actually some plants that I had in my own backyard. So that was pretty interesting. Just kind of like it was really nice to know the actual sequences of some of those plants that I had in my home. And yeah, currently I'm a dental student, and with research, I think the one thing that you learn is kind of like the analytical skills that comes with it. And other than research, I was a peer mentor for 3 years at Transfer and Transition Services at UCF. So, that opened up a lot of opportunities for me as well. So that's about all I have.
Yeah. So they're all your juniors, by the way, Balaji.
Oh, nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's your senior. Bow down.
Oh, wow. Nah, I'm not that much of a senior. I mean,
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. This is going to way too serious. Oh my God, all of you are talking about MCAT and all that. I don't want audience to think that, this is from another league.
Oh.
Yeah, just kidding. I would like to go into research a lot more. Nothing about the research data and analytical results in this. Those presentations are already up there with Valencia, and they will be posted a little later. I have few little blurbs from all of your presentation, which were recorded on my phone when you're doing it real time during the presentations, remember? Those are there. And for now, I want you to just give us a feel of what is research like for those who are wetting their feet in biology, looking forward to something, a new world of biology and research. Is research at Valencia possible, and how was the experience like? I would like to start off with Fatima here. Fatima, how was your experience of research like at Valencia? By the way, this is all impromptu. They haven't prepared much. They were given these questions just in the morning, and they had no prior preparation, no script. This is totally impromptu, totally coming off of whatever is occurring to them. And Fatima, how was the research experience like? And what did you learn comparing research experience with your other academic college courses? How would you compare it? Differences or comparison?
So pretty much a college course isn't like it's way different from research. When you do have a college course, they tell you this is what you need to know, this is what you need to study, here's the exam, and they just go through the steps. With research, you work more on uncertainty because you don't know what the results are going to be. You don't know if you need to change something. Research is like more structured as you have to change things as you go, because some things work and some things don't. So you have to really learn how to adapt. I feel like a college course is easier than doing research for me, just because a college course, like, you know what to expect and you just do it. But with research, there's a lot of curveballs thrown at you. When I first started research, it was like my first research experience. I was really confused, like all the time. Like, I don't know what was going on at first. I was really confused because I've never been through something like that. You always need to at least research one day beforehand, like, okay, what's the plan for the next day? Like, what's going on? And plan for the next day, like one day at a time sometimes, because you might be behind, you might be ahead. So I think that was my main experience with research. I was really confused at first, but by the end, like, it all comes together and you realize, okay, this is the reason I'm doing research. Like, this is why I was doing all these small little things. So it's like puzzle pieces, I would say. That's how research is.
Wonderful. I didn't know that you guys were going through so much in the top floor. Can you imagine? I was totally planning, right? Day before, there was so much simmering and cooking and cutting and all that, right? Curbing, how to reduce the downtime. So much was I was processing, and I didn't know that you were going through this as well along with me. Wow, what a nice thing to know. Dia.
Like Fatima said, we had to work as a team sometimes to try to help each other, because it was a lot, and you were always trying to help us too, because we tried to figure out as we went, and but by the end everything turned out great. And but it's really different from our classes and our it's nothing like that. You were the one doing it. You were the one practicing everything and putting all of the content that we learn in class in action and everything. And it was just a small team, and we had to do everything together, just to make everything work. And but it was very different and a really great experience.
Juan, did you have fun, and what you had to bring with yourself, and what did you take with you? And was it a surprise? Was it a good surprise, or was it a thrilling surprise? How would you like to frame it for us?
So see this way, right? Like I grew up reading about scientists and how they came up to achieve all these great discoveries that have like take us to be a better society, advanced science, and all that. And from that, they usually never like teach you when they fail. And that's something that I learned from research mostly because I recollect from the samples that I collected, right? At the end of the experiment, they were not successful. And I had to use my other partner samples and explain from them. And I felt really bad, but I recall that time that you explained me that these kind of things usually happen. And it's not necessarily meant to be perfect, right? And in every success that you'll find, there's also part of failure. And it's something that is unavoidable in research. And I think that that is one of the most important things because it humbles your perspective when you're doing this kind of things because it shows you, yeah, I am learning, but in the process of learning, I am failing, and then I am learning from my failures, right? And comparing it to a class, I would feel like in the class, yes, you are learning this. It's a short amount of time, 16 weeks that you have to learn something and then move on to the next class. But on this, it's when you realize that, okay, I'm applying what I'm learning from the class and I'm seeing that other people are applying to it too. And they also, trying to make those so much advancements. And you don't realize the great scope that science has until you get into research, right? Because you go to class and in class you'll find as much as the professor is willing to teach you. But as soon as you start to do research, as soon as you start to read papers, that's when you get to see like, hey, this is where the cool stuff is, right? So it has been that excitement for me.
Wonderful. You fail and you learn. Ah, my God, you guys grew up. Balaji, what was your take home from your research experience, and also what are the special things or different characteristics or different take homes that learnings from your research you think were especially from our research? And then Julia, whichever you like to add. What is he saying? Julia, would
Yes.
you like to go?
Is Julia going? Oh.
No,
No, you are, aren't you?
Oh, all right. Awesome. So yeah, I think with the research, like Juan was saying, I think it's like sometimes your research doesn't work, and also the samples.
Our global FMCG company is looking for ambitious, coachable, serious candidates to join us as business partners. Start your business with your smartphone or laptop with low capital. For details, visit worldebusinesspartners.com.
Like for me, especially when I was doing research at Valencia, there were sometimes the sequences did not span up as I expected. So we had to for especially when we were close to the deadline to submit the poster for FERC, that there were some samples that did not get sequenced properly. So I think that's something like you learn to adapt to the situation and then try to deal with failure. And that's something that I've used even in at dental school, is that a lot of projects are just experiments. So there was times that one of my friends finished in one try, and then I had to do it 10 times. So I think that's the take home with research for me.
By the way, none of you got a chance to do this prior to you. This research group who was with me again for a year, 3 semesters straight, back to back. We went to, what was the place? It starts with M. We went to Melbourne.
Yeah, we went to Melbourne, yeah.
Melbourne College to present. We stayed in a hotel for a day.
Yeah.
We got early in the morning, and then so we did all the traveling. And you know what? Faculty are not supposed to travel with students, so I had to travel by myself, and they went by themselves, and then so many things we had to do. It was quite an exploration, I would say. We explored different things along with academics and real time. It was good. Julia, what would you like to tell us about your research experience?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a couple things to say about it. For one, I think that the the reason research helped me so much is because it gave you a glimpse into more of a real life experience. You know, so many of these science classes that we're taking, it's like theory and then some more theory, and then there's just chucking more theory at you, and it's like, ah! And then when you get into research, it all makes sense. You're seeing like what it's really like to go out into a field and collect evidence and to like go through the process of like analyzing it in a laboratory, and then and even making mistakes, and like you said, backtracking, and then like really looking at the scientific process from the actual viewpoint of the scientific process, and not just like hearing about like, here are the steps of a hypothesis. Like it was really cool. It was really interesting. And I'm actually, I didn't even tell you this. I wish I had messaged you earlier about it, but they use DNA barcoding, which is what we had done in our research, but for Central Florida native plant species, they're using it for coral restoration. So like DNA barcoding is huge in coral restoration because, you know, with the climate change disaster that's happening, all of our corals are dying. So like Coral Restoration Foundation is using DNA barcoding and other things to like get hybrids of corals that can survive. It's really cool. I would say it's also different, like at least in our group with research, you are really under the microscope. If you make a mistake in a class, like your teacher might not notice. Like you make a mistake and Nalini O is watching you.
That is what I think I got my paycheck for, so I did it
absolutely.
thoroughly.
Yeah. So I think that like another thing research did was it puts you under this microscope. Oh, it's funny, it's kind of a pun. Puts you under the microscope, you're analyzed by your professors, and then going forward, I'm slower, I'm more methodical, I'm more careful, like in working in a laboratory, which is what I'm doing now, which is so important. And that I don't think I really got that from a class, but I really got that from research.
I don't know how people would define science as, but science and non-science, there is a huge difference, right? There is a demarcation. The demarcation is science asks for correct evidence, not just an evidence, but the correctness of the evidence is more important there, right? So repeating and having everything precise, following the books and the guidelines, everything procedural steps, and getting the results as expected is important. And if not, just mention, otherwise repeat. As Balaji said, repeat, right? Till we get it. So that is what we went through. That was actually the research. That is why, right? The research. So one last thing that comes to your mind, or else as Julia just mentioned, that is what she's going to use going forward. The entire DNA barcoding research, the entire methodologies, procedural steps, and entire learning, entire experience she's going to use in her future. So as something like that you're planning to do further in research in your careers going forward in future. Balaji, will go with you first, and then Fatima, and then Juan.
All right, I think as I mentioned earlier, especially with dentistry, it's an art and science combined. So like you just have to sometimes, especially since we started seeing patients this summer, so we have to experiment. No patient is the same. So there's some patients that come in, and then if there's a class 1 cavity, it's kind of like just on the surface of the tooth. Sometimes it takes a minute, and sometimes it takes an hour, and depending on how deeper you go. So I think, especially with research, like you adapt to the situation as it builds up. And that's something that I think in dentistry that I've been trying to adapt to my patients as they, everyone is different, and every day it's a new case, but the procedure is the same, but it's just how we do it, and how the repercussions from the patient, it's all different. So I think that's how I'm going to apply it to my career in the future.
So some or the other way, if you're not using, like Julia, entire thing and the exact thing, some or the other part of it you get to, or it stays with you at least, right? I did my master's research and it stayed with me. It is with me all the time. in some or the other form, I'm applying the research methodology in life as well. Even during this Corona period, though I couldn't do much of hands-on work, I did still continue the research part, the database searching part, and referring to the articles and validating the data part. And some or the other part of it stays with you. So I couldn't apply it to DNA barcoding, but I did apply with COVID pandemic. How is it going? Is it really true that is it fishy? Is it actually made up disease? Somebody manufactured this corona virus in the lab and they are spilling it everywhere. Is it a bioweapon? There are so many misconceptions out there. And we could use that research understanding and method or steps in order to validate all this and understand even the real-time situation. Anything like that, Fatima? Because you have chosen an entirely different path.
So for me, I think what I learned the most from research is like data analysis and like interpretation. And that's, I feel like, really applicable to medicine, like what I want to do in the future. And that like when patients talk to you, they're going to say like 100 different things. You need to understand like what's important on what they're saying, how to use that information, what drugs to prescribe, what kind of diagnosis they might have. And I feel like a lot of research, you end up with a lot of stuff, right? But what do these numbers mean? Like, how does it fit in? And that's where the data analysis and like problem solving and interpretation comes in, where you can use that data and make it into something meaningful. So I feel like pattern recognition, like data analysis, is something that will stay with you for the rest of your life. With when people talk, when you do research with other things, like all of those things.
Yeah. Impressive, because the person is in pain. They don't know what they are saying. They think, I mean, whatever it comes, whatever they think is important, that will help that the medical professional or doctor or physician, and in helping them, they want to blurt it out. But in that, there is a lot of, I don't mean gibberish, but there is a lot of unusable content for a person who wants to help them medically, right? So yeah, observation, keen observation. Juan, what are your future plans and how are you planning to use, or what is that on your mind that you like to share with us before we wrap up this interview?
Well, right now, and this is something that has been like really common between me and Fatima talking, is that I didn't know that for looking opportunities of research in UCF, right? I mean, there are certain programs to which you can apply and they will like pair you up. But most of the time, you really have to like write up emails and emailing them, like saying, hey, this is Juan, this is what I'm doing, this is my CV, I read your papers, I like this about you. I was wondering if you have a spot in your lab for which I could join. And I never done that. And to me, it's still something that it's a bit awkward and I'm trying to overcome. And after finals, I'm planning on doing that, honestly, like just pushing myself, because this is what I'm saying is that if what I want to do is something that really requires mental strength, but also requires you to be competitive, I have to put my best foot towards it, right? Because if no one else is pushing me, I have to be the person that is pushing himself to do the things. And that's why I want to get back again into research. I'm excited about the classes that I'm going to see right now. Getting my double major right now in biotechnology has been something cool, right? Because I never imagined that I could enjoy something. I mean, I always love medicine, but I didn't know I could get to enjoy the applications of bacteria on us. And that's something that, looking at it right now from my microbiology class, and putting it to the quantitative biological methods class that I saw last semester, it just has so much potential for the future, right? And it's something that I felt that like I found my spot, if it makes sense. And that's why I still want to get to do back to research, still want to get to do medicine, because I think that when those two things are in the right place, something great can come up out of it.
Wonderful. Hey, you should always brag about your work. Otherwise, nobody will know. And just tell them that you did DNA barcoding research from so-and-so professor. And you just named that it's under a professor and under college guidance. They know that that is credible research and it speaks volumes. Okay. So yeah, Julia, do you have anything for us before we wrap up?
I don't know if I have anything extra. I mean, other than just, if there are students that are going to watch this and they're just trying to decide whether or not to do research, just, I mean, honestly, just do it if you have the opportunity. There are so many ways that it's helped, you know, not just in me working in a laboratory. It's given me so many more opportunities. And also, you know, it's given me confidence. Like when you succeed and you do well, like I won 3rd place at the 2019 Spring Undergraduate Research Conference for DNA barcoding. And I was like, look at me, I can do some stuff. Like I felt good. So like, but I needed that confidence to move forward and to even feel like, you know, I could do this in a lab. So yeah, just do it.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, this is for somebody who is planning to do big, to accomplish something higher, bigger in science, and they're looking for opportunities. They want to know what is science all about, what can research do. This is a little introduction from straight from students' direct experience. And this is something that you might want to consider and reconsider, watch and rewatch in order to understand your own need and your future little label in your resume that, hey, I did research. That speaks a lot and that adds a lot of academic qualities on top of whatever other courses you are taking. It's a different kind of experience. Yeah. Wonderful, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks to you.
Check out www.healthhomeskin.com for pure quality organic health supplements that really work. Biodegradable detergents and cleaning solutions that are safe for the environment. Premium quality skincare and makeup products.